Let's also be clear. The future is not just happening. The future is built by us, by a powerful community as you here in this room. We have the means to improve the states of the world. But two conditions are necessary. The first one is that we act all as stakeholders of larger communities, that we serve not our only self-interests, but we serve the community. That's what we call stakeholder responsibility.
Hi there everyone, this is Dan Diggs here reporting for Press for Truth, and the clip that you just saw was of Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum, who was essentially saying that him and his pals there at Davos are the ones who are going to decide the fate of the world and where humanity is going to go in the near future. Of course, he said it's okay to have a personal interest in this, so long as you have a stake in the global community, is what he said. So today we're going to take a quick look at this, guys. Klaus Schwab lauds Davos elites. The future is built by us, he says. Klaus Schwab, founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, on Monday greeted members of the global elites gathered in Davos, Switzerland, with the salute, "The future is built by us, by a powerful community, as you are here in this room." And some of the other powerful entities in that room who had some interesting things to say, which we're going to look at today, is also none other than Henry Kissinger, who recently said that Ukraine should concede territory to Russia to end the war. Former U.S. Secretary of State Henry A. Kissinger said Monday that Ukraine should concede territory to Russia to help end the invasion, suggesting a position that a vast majority of Ukrainians are against as the war enters its fourth month. We're also going to take a look at this American journalist, Jack Posobiec, who was just detained at Davos in Switzerland, as we can see here in this video, where he's surrounded by the Switzerland police, and what also looks to be, as he followed up with this tweet, the WEF apparently has their own police force. And as you can see in this photo here, we have an interesting insignia, which indeed does say the World Economic Forum Police. So I'm going to take a little bit of a closer look into what that's all about, guys, because as we see here, Davos turns into fortress for WEF meet. Locals look for economic boost. Nearly 5,000 Swiss military personnel have joined local police to secure this small Swiss town for the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum. So we're going to talk about all that, guys, and much, much more in this video. But before we do, I'd ask that you quickly check me out at pressfortruth.ca/donate if you appreciate my efforts to bring you this info. There you can do a one-time donation with PayPal, you can do Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, you can join me on Subscribestar, which is a great alternative to Patreon, which I was recently kicked off of. You can also sign up right here for a monthly reoccurring contribution. You can also send an e-transfer to dan@pressfortruth.ca, or if you guys like to keep things old school, you can send cash or checks or equipment or simply just words of encouragement as well to my P.O. box, guys. Links for all of that are located in the description below. Once again, thank you so much to everybody who has contributed to my efforts to bring you this information. All right, guys, let's just jump right into it. As I'm sure you're aware, Davos is underway. The World Economic Forum is meeting there in Switzerland. And Klaus Schwab has just openly admitted now that they are the ones pulling the strings, who are going to be running the show for where humanity heads to in the near future. As we see here, it says Klaus Schwab, founder and chairman of the World Economic Forum, on Monday greeted members of the global elite gathered in Davos, Switzerland, with the salute, "The future is built by us, by a powerful community, as you here in this room." On the evidence delivered on day one at the famous Swiss ski resort, Schwab very much sees his organization at the forefront of shaping the world of tomorrow. Unfortunately, outsiders have not been consulted or invited to join the 2,500 people flown in from all around the world to be present. Schwab was quick to praise those gathered before him in his welcoming address. And that's an important point too, is these 2,500 people who are invited and flown in here And a lot of them, or a portion of them anyways, are reporters, big time reporters, like the New York Times and CNN and things of that nature. And it reminds me of a funny story of a time when I infiltrated in Germany, the G7 in Munich, and that was just wild. I was covering the Bilderberg group, actually. That's a whole nother story. I managed to infiltrate the Bilderberg Hotel with my friend Jeff Berwick and Luke Rudowski. We got on the inside during lockdown. It's never been done before. And while we were in there, we came across some journalists in this smoking room, and we assumed they were there to cover Bilderberg, but they weren't. They were covering the G7 in Munich, and they had a helicopter flying them in and out every single day to go cover that. So as a quick little detour, I went to Munich as well to see if I could get in, and I did. I went in to sign in knowing I'm not on the list, and I just said, hey, I'm here, to get my my media pass. And the lady's like, okay, what's your name? I give her my name. I know I'm not on the list, but she starts looking around and says, yeah, I can't see anything here. And I start freaking out, right? What do you mean? Like, this is my job. I flew all the way from Canada for this. My boss is going to kill me if I don't get in. Of course, I don't have a boss. I'm just creating a ruse. And she's like, okay, hey, hold on. Let me look around here a little bit. And she flips through a few pages, and then all of a sudden she goes, did you say you're from Canada? I said, yeah. And she says, are you with the CBC? And I just go, yep. And she says, okay, stand here for your picture. And booyah, here it is. My G7 Munich official press pass, Dan Dex CBC. And that was it. I was in. But the point of the story is, once I got in on the inside, I was absolutely lavished with free food, free alcohol. They gave me clothing. They gave me a backpack, a really nice Swiss backpack that my wife still uses to this day. They just lavished us in gifts and food and alcohol, $100 bottles of champagne. It was just crazy. And not only that, there was an area where the media could go and download footage, like B-roll footage and stuff like that. They're pretty much doing the jobs for them and lavishing them in gifts and free food and alcohol. And I remember sitting there witnessing all this, thinking, who in the right mind of a journalist here who's being invited to this, who are being given these gifts, is going to think to say something negatively about the group, And it's exactly the same with what's going on in Davos right now. You have these invitees, many of whom are working high up in the mainstream media, who are obviously not going to report negatively on any of the things that are said at Davos because of that position that they're in and what it's really actually all about. But there are some people saying some things at Davos that are upsetting a lot of people, and remarkably, Henry Kissinger is still alive. The guy's like 98 years old, and he's still kicking it, coming out to these things and telling the world what they need to do. As we see here, his latest thing is that Ukraine should concede territory to Russia to end the war. Speaking at a conference at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, Kissinger urged the United States and the West to not seek an embarrassing defeat for Russia in Ukraine, warning it could worsen Europe's long-term stability. After warning that Western countries should remember Russia's importance to Europe and not get swept up in the mood of the moment, Kissinger also pushed for the West to force Ukraine into accepting negotiations with a status quo ante, which means the previous state of affairs. So Kissinger wants things to go back to the way they were, and insisting that essentially Ukraine needs to just concede and for the sake of peace moving forward, just give up some of their land. And this obviously has a lot of the Ukrainians upset with this, 4-month-long, war now. They're not expecting to just give up. But, I covered in a video a few days ago what the true motive behind guys like Henry Kissinger are. You may recall I put out this video here. We are on the brink of a global food catastrophe. only 10 weeks of wheat supplies left in the world, and that was what one kind of food insecurity insider, they called him, was saying over there. But in this video, I showed you Kissinger's early 1970s memorandum on this covert plot to depopulize certain nations of the world because of their growth and their ability to become a economic stronghold or a military might that they might have to deal with. And Kissinger's like, can't let that happen. So they outlined a plan on how to defeat these countries' growing populations with war and famine, essentially weaponizing food. That's what Kissinger is all about, and it's just interesting now he's going on about, Ukrainians just giving up over there. And as I said, this is going to absolutely not only upset those people, but I think it might backfire, and perhaps that's what he knows is going to happen all along, which is why he's suggesting it, guys. But nonetheless, it's interesting, which is why I wanted to bring it to your attention, and also the fact that they are detaining journalists there, as we see in this video. Let's check it out really quickly. This is Jack Posobiec. He's an American journalist who was there covering Davos, who was recently surrounded by the police and temporarily detained. Check it out.
Well, I was just waiting for candles today. Did they toss them? I don't know. I don't think so. It's pretty heavy.
Excuse me, can I ask you why you're detaining this journalist?
Can you put the phone away, please?
Can I ask you why you're detaining this journalist?
I don't answer your question.
Is it we're not
Please put your
able
phone
to
away.
report here?
Please put the phone away.
Okay. Can I ask you guys
Yeah,
why
you
you're
can.
being
Can you?
detained?
Yeah, can you please stop filming? Then we can talk.
Why do I need to stop filming?
Because I ask you to. It's my personal right, because I don't like to be filmed,
Okay.
and it's a right in Switzerland. If I don't want to
But
be
can
filmed,
I ask why he's being detained then? I won't point the camera at you then. I won't film you, but I would like to know why this journalist is being detained on public property.
what's detained? Can you explain
How
the
come
word?
he's being surrounded right now? Is he allowed to leave the area?
We're just making a normal police control because it's WEF. Everything is
Is there a
very
reason
sensitive.
he specifically was targeted?
There is a reason, because we have to have a reason to
So
control a
What was the
person.
reason? What was he doing?
I don't have to tell you that. Why are you asking me that?
Because this is, he's, there's many journalists here, and I want to know
Yeah,
why
I know.
he specifically is being detained.
There is a reason, but everything is clear now, and we're about to leave in just a few seconds.
Thank you.
Okay? Yeah. Could you please now? Can I ask you please to delete your?
And as we saw, he followed that up with this picture suggesting that the World Economic Forum has their own police force. And after looking into it, I see that the military did bring in an additional 5,000 personnel to help out with the local police force, and they came from all over. And as it turns out, in these smaller districts and regions that these guys were coming from, they all have their own little insignias and their own little symbols. And the one that guy was wearing appeared to be of some goat that's native to the region. What is it called? The ibex, IBEX. Goat is on the patch there, but I couldn't find anything that would suggest that the World Economic Forum actually has their own police force, even though that guy's patch did say police on it. But there isn't an official police force as of yet that I can find anyways. But it's still interesting that this is what's happening. You know, I've had similar experiences. I've been detained while covering Bilderberg. I was detained in Switzerland. I was detained in Italy, and I was detained and thrown in prison in Copenhagen. You guys might recall some of my coverage from stuff like that. It's a little bit similar to what's going on in Davos. In case you missed it, a few years ago I put out this, busted some of the best airport Bilderberg confrontations to date. I kind of started it off with funny ones like this one.
Were you satisfied with the outcome of the European election?
I can't tell you anything because they would shoot me.
They would shoot you? we tell you anything?
What do you mean by that? What do you mean they will shoot you?
Serious
Do you think
secrecy.
it's a problem that populism is on the rise?
Wow. Guy said Bilderberg would shoot him if he said anything. Okay, that's just about as non-transparent as you can be. Obviously, he's probably joking, but maybe not. So I got dozens and dozens and dozens of confrontations like that over the years, and some that are obviously much better, not just nonsensical answers. But if you guys are not familiar with that, just do a search on my channel for Bilderberg. One other thing I wanted to point out is remarkable that this happened is that George Bush just got trolled and pranked by a couple of Russian prankster radio hosts as he thinks he's literally on the phone talking to Zelensky. How did George W. Bush, his staff and his security detail get conned like this? I mean, I'm a proud American, but you got to tip your cap to Russia on this one. And there's a bunch of clips here of these guys just trolling George Bush and making him think that he's talking to Zelensky and members of his team. Pretty wild that they were able to pull that off. So just wanted to bring that one to your attention too, guys. It was kind of funny to see him being trolled like that. Of course, I'm sure you've seen his recent epic Freudian slip, where he was speaking somewhere and he said that you know, it was a brutal invasion what they did there in Iraq. Oops, I mean Ukraine. If you haven't seen that, guys, check it out.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq. I mean, of Ukraine. Iraq, too. Anyway. 75.
So yeah, quite the Freudian slip there. But it's to be expected with a senile old man like that. Anyways, guys, just wanted to bring all this stuff to your attention. You know, they think they can pull the strings in Davos. They think they can decide the fate of the world so long as they have a stake in the community. Well, they need to remember we decide that. We are the community. You know, this entire thing is built in a pyramidal structure with these so-called elites at the very top, but it's all of us who make up the whole base of this thing. And it's just a matter of time until enough people discover that and realize that fact and understand the physics of it, where if you remove a couple of bricks from the bottom corner, what's going to happen is the whole thing is going to come tumbling down. And right now, the system is very much like a delicate house of cards. Appears to be stable, but it really isn't. It's really quite fragile. And the tipping point comes down to us. And one of the best ways to tip this thing into our favor, guys, is to step outside of the system, no longer have any kind of reliance on the governments or the banks or the grocery stores. Just simply say no thank you, but I'll just go at it on my own from here on in. That's the true enemy of the state. That's the one thing they fear the most, and that's the thing we need to be concentrating on moving forward, guys. If you agree, please click that thumbs up button, share this video, get the information out there that we got these powers that ought not to be, who think that they can call all the shots and pull the strings for the direction that your life is going to go in the future. But it's up to us, guys, to take the responsibility into our own hands of where we want our lives to go. So that's all for today, guys. If you agree, let me know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to share this one with your friends and family who you think need to see it the most. And also don't forget to check me out at pressfortruth.ca/donate. Again, if you appreciate my efforts to bring you this information. Thanks, guys. That's all for today. Stay tuned. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth.
will set you free, free, free.